Intellectuals, Droids, and Wookiees. It's Anna, also known as That Star Wars Girl, and today we're going to be talking about Ray Fisher, because Ray Fisher just released this over on his Twitter. But so I just wanted to give a little bit of background on the situation, because I do not believe I have talked about it on my channel. So Ray Fisher is the actor that played Cyborg in the Justice League movie, and it was originally directed by Zack Snyder, but then, he had his family tragedy, so he had to, he had to leave, which is why, now we have the Snyder cut is getting released, because we're finally going to get his version of the Justice League. And when he left, Joss Whedon came in. And so there's been all of this drama going on for what seems like over a year now, because, like it says right here, Ray Fisher accuses Joss Whedon of abusive, unprofessional behavior on Justice League set. Now, that's the amount of information that, if other things have come out, I've looked. I'm like, what did Joss Whedon do? I've heard before that he's an asshole and he's difficult to work with, but like, what exactly did he do that was abusive and unprofessional? But so it goes on, and this is an older article, obviously. Actor Ray Fisher accused director Joss Whedon of gross, abusive, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable behavior on the set of the 2017 film Justice League. And it was 2017, jeez, that quickly went viral. So I remember when that happened, but everyone was asking, well, okay, he was abusive and unprofessional, but what did he do? Because there's some directors, like Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino says you're not allowed to have any device with you that has to be charged. Like that, because he doesn't want people, he doesn't want things leaked, he doesn't want people doing that. And then, if you fall asleep on set of a Quentin Tarantino movie, they have a giant dildo that they put next to you, and they take a picture of you with the giant dildo. And then I believe Christopher Nolan doesn't allow chairs on set, because, he feels like people have to be working. So there's different ways that directors do things, but it's like, what exactly did this guy do that was unprofessional? And so Fisher also claimed in his tweet on Wednesday that the former Warner Brothers co-president production, John Burge, and former DC Entertainment president and chief creative officer Jeff Johns both enabled Whedon's alleged behavior on Justice League. Burge and Johns also served as producers on the Justice League, and the film's poor performance was a factor in both executives exiting their positions leading the DC Films unit at the studio. Fisher offered no corroboration to his claims, and attempts to reach his representatives for further clarification went unanswered. Whedon had no comment. A representative from Warner Brothers did not immediately respond to the request for a comment. When reached for a comment on Wednesday afternoon, Burge told Variety that it was categorically untrue, and that we enable any any unprofessional behavior. I remember Fisher being upset that we wanted him to say "booyah," which is a well-known saying of Cyborg in the animated series, Burge added. So this is the tweet. Joss Whedon's on-set treatment of the cast and crew of Justice League was gross, abusive, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable. He was engaged in many ways, he was enabled in many ways by Jeff Johns and John Berg. Accountability over entertainment. So what I got from this, and the link for this article is in the description of this video if you want to check it out for yourself, but after all the research I've done, and it doesn't seem like anyone else in the Justice League had as much of a problem with Joss as, Ray Fisher did. But so, again, this was actually released yesterday. And so he just says, please read, because, again, this has been going on for a long time, and still, we don't know what that unprofessional behavior was. So let's take a look at the statement that he left on Twitter. Oh my gosh, it's tiny. I had received an official confirmation that Warner Brothers Pictures had decided to remove me from the cast of The Flash. Well, after, the year of being difficult, I wonder, I strongly disagree with their decision, but it is one that is unsurprising. Despite misconception, Cyborg's involvement in The Flash was much larger than a cameo. And while I do mourn the lost opportunity to bring Victor Stone back to the screen, bringing awareness to the actions of Walter Hamada will prove to be a much more important contribution to our world. On December 30th, 2020, I made it clear that I cannot, with a clear conscience, participate in any production associated with the current president of DC Films, Walter Hamada. So, one thing that screams, before we, get into this, what screams right off the bat is, if he wants to be an actor and work again, okay, there's one thing following things through to the very end, and it's the right thing to do, but from the research I've done, you can look into it, it's, he wasn't even working with his legal team on this. Like, they wanted information from him and he wouldn't respond to them or wouldn't give them information. And now he's calling for, the removal of, the CEO of DC. Either this thing is a lot worse than we all could imagine. And if that's the case, if it's a lot worse than we all can imagine, then how come more people aren't, stepping up the way Ray Fisher is? Or it's, something is getting blown out of the water and he's got a chip on his shoulder about it. Because what other studio is going to want to work with him after this? If it's the first one, then, more power to him. But if it's the latter and, I don't know, maybe Joss Whedon and, the other people that were, in charge of the Justice League film, and they said, hey, why don't you say a catchphrase of the character, and he's being stubborn even though he signed on to play a superhero character, and that's one of, the things associated with the superhero. So, I mean, you can do your own research, come to your own conclusions. It's either one or two things, but reading this right out the bat, if I was, in charge of, a Hollywood movie or production company, there is no way I would hire this guy. If, nothing comes of this, or if there's no proven evidence, or if he never releases what actually happened, because it seems like he must be a difficult person to work with. And why would you want to have that liability? What if he's working with a director, like you hire him for your production company for your film, and he doesn't like the director, so then he does this thing again. So, and it's one of those touchy things because we don't know what happened. If we did, it would be a lot easier for me or, other people that I've seen, talk about this to, make a better informed decision on it or have a better understanding of it. But right now it's like, I don't know what you did, so I don't know if you're crying wolf or not. So that's just my 2 cents, just reading the beginning of this, but let's check out the rest. On December 30th, 2020, I made it clear that I cannot, with a clear conscience, participate in any production associated with the current president of DC Films, Walter Hamada. The reasoning behind that declaration was twofold. Walter's purposeful attempt to undermine the Justice League investigation in order to protect his friend and former co-president Jeff Johns. 2, Walter's attempt to protect himself by contributing to the public dissemination of lies and misinformation about myself. Justice League investigation in the Warner Brothers Pictures September 4th statement to the Wrap. Bear in mind that Walter Hamada interfering with the Justice League investigation is a completely separate issue than the investigation itself. And while Walter's behavior was not a point of focus for the investigation of the Justice League reshoots, his dangerous and enabling actions during the investigation process must be called to account. On July 7th, 2020, during a 57-minute-long phone call with Walter, I made multiple attempts to have him immaculate his claims of misconduct against Joss Whedon, Jeff Johns, and John Birch through the proper channels. Rather than escalate the situation while initially asked Walter disparage Joss Whedon and John Birch in an attempt to cover for Jeff Johns, when I alerted Walter that Jeff was in fact a major contributor to the issues experienced, including blatant racism. Walter tried, but to no avail, to get me to reveal the names of witnesses and other specifics that could be used to forewarn Jeff of the claims being brought against him. Walter even went so far as to sharply dismiss certain claims of mine as untrue because of his work experience and personal relationship with Jeff. Walter indicated that he was briefed on Joss Whedon's problematic behavior well in advance of my speaking out on July 1st, 2020. That briefing likely came from Jeff Johns, with whom Walter served as co-president of DC Films. Regardless of how he was made aware, Walter knew that there was legitimacy to my claims against Joss Whedon. Yet the president, in trying to minimize and dismiss the situation, claiming that it is a producer's job to protect the director and that he was looking to move beyond anything with Zack Snyder's Justice League. It wasn't until I argued Walter down that he agreed to escalate my claims as asked, citing it was above his pay grade, knowing that he'd outstepped and that I had no intention of backing down. Walter made matters worse by making a tasteless, self-aware joke, not wanting me to put him on Twitter about this. Well, here we are. Jesus. Despite Walter's best efforts in the Justice League investigation, was able to expose racist, correct, discriminatory, and sorry, this is really tiny on my screen, and relatory behavior of Jeff Johns during his tenure with Warner Brothers Media affiliation. It has also led to more immediate parting of ways between Warner Media and Joss Whedon. While it may be legally and financially safer to quietly phase Jeff Johns out or let Joss Whedon exit of his own account, I share neither of those responsibilities. My responsibilities are and have been, one, to try to protect those that were brave enough to lend their voice to the Justice League investigation. Two, to use what little power I possess to ensure that the workplace behavior exhibited during the Justice League reshoots and in its investigation never happen again. No one in any profession should have to argue with the employer for their claims of abuse, racism, and discrimination to be taken up the proper chain of command, and no one in any position of leadership should attempt to dissuade those wishing to report such claims from doing so. Walter's actions have transformed his narrative from an investigation onset misconduct in 2017 to the examination of present-day cover-up culture of Hollywood. His contribution to Warner Bros. Pictures' September 4th statement to the rap was false, cowardly, and reckless. I maintain that Walter Hamada is unfit for the position of leadership, and I am willing at any point to submit a polygraph test to support my claims against him. I mean, I don't really think you need to take a lie detector test. I think it's just more of evidence-based, but let's continue. I don't know how many instances of workplace abuse Walter has attempted to cover in the past, but hopefully the Justice League investigation will be the last. And if the end of my time as Cyborg is the cost for me helping to bring awareness and accountability to Walter Hamada's action, I'll pay it gladly. Onward. Gratefully, Ray, A over E. You reach a point in life where you simply must take a stand. So that was saying a lot without really saying what happened, aside from he brought the situation to his higher ups and they didn't do what he wanted them to do. But so this is a really touchy thing, and again, without the information, I can't make a clear decision on it. Well, I mean, just my personal trying to connect the dots. But so again, it's either that this is far worse than we could imagine, and that's why he's taking it to these, extremes, or it's a crying wolf situation. Now, I remember when I was a kid, and I remember Brendan Fraser was like the hottest actor. He was in The Mummy, he was in George of the Jungle, he Bedazzled, he was in like everything, and then all of a sudden he just stopped being in movies. And it's like, why? He was so popular. And then, years later, you find out, oh, it's because his career was sabotaged because somebody very high up in Hollywood that was a man wanted, basically was like, oh, do these sexual things with me or I'm going to ruin your career. And Brendan Fraser said, no, I'm not going to do that. And so the guy sabotaged his career, which is why Brendan Fraser didn't get work for a long time. And then Brendan Fraser had a really messy divorce. And so, look what happened. He's going to be in a movie again soon, but it really screwed up, his career. So, if it's something like that, then holy crap. But again, we would need to see the evidence. And I don't know if a polygraph test is the answer for it, because a polygraph test, those can be messed with, especially if you believe you're telling the truth. Like, somebody could be lying, but if they believe that they're telling the truth, then it registers as the truth. So that's not exactly, I don't think, the best, course of action, but that's just my opinion on this. But anyways, everyone, let me know what you think about this in the comments below. If I don't know what to make of it. I just wanted to talk about it because this happened, and it's a pretty, I don't know, it really is at the heart of what, you know, we kind of talk about here on my channel as far as pop culture. And, you know, I love DC. And I mean, just, he was more, you know, Cyborg is more of like a Teen Titans, not really a Justice League. Like, I'm like, where is, you know, Jean? Where's, you know, Martian the Manhunter? Where is he? But, I mean, it is what it is. So, again, I really don't know what to make of it because I don't have all of the information. So I just read this and I have more questions than answers. But anyways, let me know what you think about this in the comments below. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, that's okay too. Thank you so much for watching this far through. And until next time, everyone, have a great rest of your day, morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And may the force be with you because we are really, really, really going to need it. Bye, everyone.